All right, we're going to continue yesterday's PowerPoint with Vietnam Years Part 2. We'll try to make it short and sweet. Okay, first, this is a new kind of war. We talked a little bit about that yesterday, a different terrain, something we're not used to. It's going to be difficult fighting. We talked about guerrilla tactics and jungle warfare yesterday. Elusive Viet Cong, or those southern rebels fighting for the communist cause. And ambushes, surprise attacks, the things that we discussed yesterday. You're going to have booby traps and ambushes that prove constant dangers. We'll talk about some of those booby traps and the various types they would use as well in class. But our strategy, the United States, is a war of attrition and to win the hearts and minds of the Vietnamese people. So we're going to, try to make them think we're here for a good cause and to help them. But you're going to see later on that strategy does not exactly go very well. Right? Our tactics are actually going to alienate much of the population. Napalm, we're going to use napalm to clear out massive parts of jungles, including Agent Orange, which is basically like a pesticide to kill all the plants and wildlife there. We'll have search and destroy missions. Most of you have played Call of Duty. You find a point, you get there, you destroy it. The problem is the various types that we're using here will only harm the civilians in these areas, and American troops, our morale drops as the difficulty of the situation becomes evident, because we thought we were going to go in there with more people, better weapons, and we were just going to kick their butt really quick, but that's not how it ends up working. And a lot of these things, napalm, Agent Orange, that's going to, we're going to hit our own troops with that. Right? And those all will be discussed more in class. The Great Society program suffered due to war costs, which is also a little bit of what we've already talked about. This is the first time a war has ever been broadcast on TV, so a credibility gap develops. Credibility is like, if you're a credible source, that means you can be trusted. If someone in the government's saying one thing, but then the TV shows another, people are going to learn that you can't exactly be trusted. That's that credibility gap. We understand that the government might not be as credible now. Your draft is seen as unfair for various reasons. You have deferments for college students. College students do not have to go. A lot of people are going to enroll into college just so they don't get drafted. Your average age of the soldier was 19. That means most of these kids that are going to war are 18 years old. African Americans are represented in larger percentages than had ever been represented, which is one reason why even in Forrest Gump, you saw the Black Panthers and some of the things they were saying. A lot of your black soldiers are out on the front lines. And the nation will be divided into the pro-war hawks and anti-war doves. You guys are going to have to put an activity on that as well, so make sure you remember pro-war are hawks, war hawks, sort of like we discussed earlier in the year, and anti-war doves. Doves is usually your symbol for peace. You'll have protest movements spread, especially with those doves. A lot of people don't understand why we're in Vietnam. You're going to have opposition grow. The New Left is a movement that grows, as well as Students for Democratic Society. They all begin to lead large-scale protests, burning draft cards and dodging the draft. And we've talked a little bit about that. I even showed you that picture I got of Muhammad Ali, who's one of the most famous people that refused to go to the draft during Vietnam. October of 1967, protest in D.C. draws over 70,000 people. You're going to have conservative backlash against the movement, obviously, that think, hey, our country's in war, you should support them. You're only hurting your country. But LBJ is resolved to continue the fight in Vietnam. Okay, here you have just an example of some of these protesters. You see putting the flowers in the barrel of the guns. My son died in vain. Don't fight, go to prison. If you burn your draft card, if you don't go to the draft after you've been drafted, if you don't enlist, you get sent to prison. Okay, just various protests, and that is all. Make sure you guys come ready and prepared for some Forrest Gump tomorrow.